You're in an argument with your wife and she just keeps repeating herself. And you're standing there thinking, I heard you the first 3 times. But she just keeps going over the same thing, same complaint, over and over. You are both getting more and more frustrated. There's actually one thing that you can do to make her stop. And it might be something that you think that you're already doing, and it just needs a little shift. I am Lindsay. This is Loving with Intention. Let's dive in so you can start stopping the arguments from going in circles. So often I will say this is not just women who repeat themselves in arguments or in any scenario. Men do this too, but today I'm talking to you men. So we're thinking about when your wife does this and you're in the argument, maybe she's getting louder and louder, she's saying the same thing, or like using the exact same words, or she's saying the same thing in 10 different ways. So there are so many places that this can come from. So I just want to talk a little bit about that before I give you the solution. So maybe this is just a pattern. She is used to doing this. So that is one thing. Us humans, we run on autopilot. We get into our patterns. We keep doing them. And often this can come from childhood. So, I know that there are some people who don't want to dig into the past or don't want to think about childhood or maybe don't see the significance of it. And the truth is that our childhoods are directly impacting how we show up in our relationships now, in our romantic relationships, in our friend relationships, in our lives. Because from age 0 to 7, these brains, they are sponges. They are taking everything in. This is where we are learning patterns. Of course, we can learn beyond then, and this is a super impressionable time. So we are learning these patterns that get just like well-worn grooves in our brains that we continue out for all of our lives. So how does this apply to what we're talking about? Just imagine that your wife is a little girl and maybe she has like 2 siblings. Maybe she has 5 siblings, maybe whatever it looks like. And she's the youngest, or maybe she's the quietest. And every time she talks, it's like someone's talking over her. There's so much noise in the house. Her parents aren't paying attention. She needs to try to get their attention. So she's repeating herself over and over and over, and she just never feels heard. So that is one scenario. That would be a learned pattern. And it's not a conscious pattern that she would be doing now. It would be something that she learned the only way that I finally get someone to pay attention to me, which isn't actually about attention, it's about connection, because on the deepest level, us humans are just going for connection. So if she learns subconsciously again that this is the only way that I can get that connection, then this is a great strategy. That is a brilliant thing for little her to do, to just keep repeating herself until she gets the connection that is life-giving, literally life-giving, because your caregivers, your parents, they're the ones who keep you alive. So connection to them means everything. So we can think about it in that. And again, that's just one scenario. It could be so many different scenarios. She could have been an only child, but it could show up in different ways. Maybe it's parents who work a lot, or they are working from home, or I'm just thinking, my brain is just going like way back. They're reading the newspaper and they just don't look up when she's talking, and she has to say it over and over and over until she finally gets that connection. So just imagining those scenarios. And that's where we get down to what you can do about it. Because even if this isn't necessarily a learned pattern from childhood, usually the reason that someone is repeating themselves is because they don't feel heard. So, when we feel heard, we humans, men and women, we can usually let go of that and not carry on with repeating ourselves. And I said in the beginning that, you may think that you are doing this because you may say things like, I get it, or I understand. And your intentions are so great, and you probably do. You probably do. If she's, say, I always use the dishes as an example because I'm generally near the kitchen, so I can see dishes off to the side. So just say it's about the dishes, just something like that. And she's just repeating it over and over. You're arguing and you're saying, I get it. I should have done the dishes. I understand why it bugs you. And in that, yes, your intentions are good. Yes, you're hearing her. Yes, you do hear and understand about the dishes. And this is where the shift comes in. In order for somebody to know that you actually hear them, the only way that she knows that you heard her is not by saying, I get it, is not by saying, I understand. It's actually by repeating back to her what she said. So this can sound kind of scripted, or it can sound kind of weird, and it doesn't have to. It can just be like, yeah, I know. Well, okay, that didn't sound good. we don't we don't want to be like, yeah, I get it. So rewind. This takes practice, guys. So even when you're doing this, it may not come out right. So you may want to take a deep breath. It may sound like, I hear you. When you got home and saw dishes everywhere, that sounds like it was really stressful. And then we can add in the next piece. It makes sense to me why that was stressful, because you asked me to do them before you got home, and I know you had a really busy day today. So not only did we hear by reflecting, we also validated her feelings. And again, I've talked about this so many times because we can't hear this enough. We never learn how to validate. Validating does not mean that you should agree with her, that you would feel the same way about the dishes, that you think that she should be upset about the dishes. It doesn't mean that you didn't have a busy day and that you don't have all sorts of probably very valid reasons why the dishes didn't get done. It doesn't mean all of that, any of that. It just means it makes sense to me why you are upset about this, because you asked me to do it. So you asked me to do something, I didn't follow through, so I get why you would be upset. Letting go of all of that other stuff. So in saying that, say she's repeating it over and over and over. Yeah, but you didn't do the dishes, and then I walk home, and then I walk it through the door, and then they're everywhere, and it's always like this. And she's getting kind of fired up. Her nervous system is triggered. Yours is probably triggered. You're in this argument. For her to stop repeating herself, if you can lean in and get into your heart and see her experience and just reflect that back to her, I hear you. This is what you said. So that's how you know that I heard you, instead of just saying, I get it, or I hear you. And it makes sense. So you can even go as far as appreciating too. I appreciate you letting me know. I appreciate how hard you worked today. And this, again, does not mean, maybe on the flip side of that, you're like, she doesn't know that I got called in to work for the afternoon, or that I got an appointment that I've been waiting for, or that something happened outside and I got caught up and I was cleaning the garage, or this, that, or the other. She doesn't know all of those things. So we might want to get into those in the argument. And that only keeps us in the argument. And you're likely to hear her keep repeating herself, which is the very thing that feels really, really frustrating. So instead, if you can drop into your heart and share that stuff after, she is so much more likely to be able to hear you once she feels heard. Someone needs to feel heard first. And because you're the one who is here, you're the one who's listening to this video, you get to be the one who goes first. And if I made a video on the flip side of this, I would be talking to her about how she could approach you and what she can do when she notices that she's repeating herself, and how she could, wonder and look under and get really compassionately curious about what might have gone on for you in this approach. Because the truth is, if she's repeating herself, you're likely in an argument. So this is where you get to look and get compassionately curious with yourself. What relationship poisons, as I call them, because they hurt our relationships, what relationship poisons are you using in this argument? Because her repeating, her being loud, maybe she's being critical. Are you being defensive? Are you being critical back? Are you interrupting? Are you getting loud? So usually it takes two to tango. And this is why, that's not why, but any one of you can go first in the hearing. So oh my gosh. And when I talk about wonder and look under, if you want to go deeper on this and find out what's really going on under the surface in this too, because likely she's got so many more needs than just to be heard. And when you are getting either defensive or critical, you're going to also have beautiful needs under that, which may also to be heard. You want to be seen for what else happened in the day. You want to be appreciated for the things that you did do in the day and be seen for those things. So if you want more support in Wonder and Look Under, you can comment roadmap below, and I will share with you my free love journey roadmap. It is a 17-page, I think it's a 17-page. It is a free guide that I created that deep dives my love journey process, and it will be so helpful for you to dig into that and so many other things, including your nervous system, which I'm talking about getting triggered here. That is our nervous system. So there's so many layers to this, but I wanted to leave you with that one thing today. So if you do find, and you're reflecting right now, and last point, if it is something from her childhood, we can get into this place in our relationships where we think, well, that's her stuff. She should deal with it then. She should work on that, or that's not my problem. That happened long before. What I love so much about our relationships is we get to help heal each other. Yes, she can do the work. She can get curious about that. And you get to help heal those parts of her that were never heard. And you can do it bit by bit, doing it in this moment, leaning in and saying, I hear you and it makes sense. You're not only speaking to the wife that you see in front of you, you're speaking to that little girl whose parents were busy or who had so many siblings or tried to talk in class and got talked over or laughed at. There are so many things. So many things. So you get to help in that healing process, even if it is about something from the past. I love this part about our relationships and when I get to work with couples and they get to do this work. So I would love to hear your thoughts or questions about this video. So leave a comment below and leave a like if you liked it. I am sending so much love into your day. Check out the video on the screen where I deep dive validation and how to validate even if you don't agree. It is the best. Remember, nothing changes if nothing changes. So let's have a super intentional week. Bye.